My name's Erin. I am the social media volunteer here at Rhode Home Rescue. I thought it would be a good idea for us to just do a quick little overview of fostering and how to get a foster and how to use the foster Facebook group to the best of its ability for everybody. I know you guys might all have some questions if you're new or if you haven't started fostering yet or still considering fostering or might be looking to start. So if you just want to note your questions and hold on to them to the end, I might answer them along the way. And then we'll dive into everybody's if they didn't get answered by the end. You can also put them in the chat. I just might not see it till we go through. I'm gonna mute you guys, and I'm going to share my screen. Let's see. There we go. Okay. Okay, so thank you guys all for being here and for signing up to foster. As a foster-based rescue, we can't do this without you. So thank you so much for being here and deciding to give up some of your space in your heart and your home to help dogs that need homes. So we will just kind of go through a process from soup to nuts of how to select a foster, how to use the Facebook group. And like I said, if you just want to hold your questions to the end, that'd be great. Okay. What happened? All right. Sorry, I'm not a Zoom expert anymore. It's been so long since we had to be on Zoom every day. Okay, so you guys are approved. You're in our foster Facebook group. That's kind of the hub of the rescue. It's what we use to communicate to you and how you can communicate with us about your foster dog. Unfortunately, it is the beast that is meta, and it's not perfect, and it drives us all crazy sometimes. Sometimes notifications don't get through. Sometimes you don't see every post. Sometimes it just gets confusing and bogged down, but we do our best with what we have. It's great if you can turn on your notifications inside the Facebook group, the foster Facebook group, and there's a little question in there when you have your settings up that asks you if you want the tag everyone to show up in your notifications, then that would be great if you could select that on. A lot of times we'll tag at everyone if we have a really specific thing we need you to see, or we don't think people are seeing the post, especially with transport posts. So if you want to make sure that's toggled on, that's great. If you could not post singular questions, singular photos, singular snippets in the group, that would be great. We rely on Facebook Messenger as sort of our method of communication in lieu of sending group texts to 700 people. It's just easier if we can message you and you can message us. So if you have a question about something that's going on, I'll go through the direct people that you can contact. But if you just don't know who that person is, then you're more than welcome just to message our main page, Rhode Home Rescue, and I'll direct your message to who it needs to go to. Or you can always message your foster screener who approved you, or your dog's adoption screener who probably reached out to you once you selected your foster and they got here in Rhode Island. It just clogs up the feed a little bit. So if there's just like, where do I get a harness? It just kind of throws things off. So we just like to keep it as clear and consistent as we can. And I know that's hard to do. So just keeping those one-off questions and posts help us do that a little bit. So if you're ready to select a foster, the number one place you're going to go to in that foster Facebook group is the featured tab. And that's at the top of the page, says featured. You just click on there and we pin every post that a dog needs a foster, or really important information that we need you to have, or information about volunteer positions that we need help with, or urgent requests to that featured tab. So if you're just hanging out and jumping over to Facebook, and you might not necessarily see a notification from us, but you'll just want to check the featured tab right away. Our fosters are available through multiple resources. We have a few different spots where they're coming from. So most of the time, our big transport, it's the Just Us Beagles transport. That's the one that you'll see Friday nights when we go live, and there's most dogs there. A few different volunteers will be posting requests for fosters for those dogs. Deb is one of our volunteers. Her name on Facebook is Elfie Green. You might see her posting asking for fosters for her dogs. They come in on a different transport, so that's why they're not included in the Just Us Beagles one. She actually manages her own transport and her own dog selections from some different shelters and rescues down south. Third is Providence Animal Control. We lovingly call it PROVAC. It's just a shortened term for Providence Animal Control, and some of our other local shelters, sometimes Cranston Animal Shelter, Pawtucket Animal Shelter, any of our local shelters that we can help out, we like to try to do so when we can. It's really important for us to help the shelters here in Rhode Island as well as our southern partners. Sometimes those dogs just should not be in a shelter. They're either a baby puppy and we don't know how they got there, or they're like a designer breed and we know where they're going to get adopted really fast, or they're just not really doing well in the shelter environment. And the shelter staff and our training partner, Jen from Training Tales, often evaluates the dogs at Providence Animal Control. She might be like, this dog just needs to get out of the shelter. It's a great dog, but it's just not doing well here. And that happens a lot. So those pups are all available to foster. You'll typically see Hillary posting those, or sometimes Kara. There's also the option to foster an owner surrender. So typically those will be posted by Davina. That happens typically when, unfortunately, someone has passed away and they don't have an option for a place for their dog to go. Maybe family members can't take it, or they just don't have a next of kin available. Or someone's losing their housing situation has changed, or they've had some sort of emergency situation in their life and can no longer care for their dog. It also happens with dogs that we've adopted out and unfortunately just aren't working out in the family, and it's been longer than 6 months or so, and we need to take those dogs back contractually, so we want to get them back into the rescue. Foster swaps, probably the last option there for fosters, but probably the most important. So we don't have a shelter. We don't have a place for the dogs to go once they're here. So if it's not working out with a foster and that dog needs to go to a new home, or that foster got called away on work, or they have an upcoming vacation, or they've had a change in their family situation, those things can all require them to ask for a new foster for their foster dogs. So it would be really great if you could consider taking from another foster here first, because we have committed to those dogs. They're already here. They need to be somewhere. We don't want to have to put them in boarding or into a kennel because we just don't have another option. So having them go to you would be ideal. So once you see those posts in the Facebook group, you're going to have to go ahead and make your selection for who you want to foster. The information that we have about that dog will be provided in that post. So very, very often with our Southern partners, we don't have a ton of information. We're lucky if we know that they're good with other dogs or not good with other dogs, or good with kids or not good with kids. It's rare that we'll know if they're cat tested. It's rare that we'll know if they're house trained or crate trained, because very often those dogs are either in a shelter environment and we're pulling them, saving them from the euthanasia list, or they're in a Southern foster home, which is a little bit different than how we do it up here. Sometimes the Southern fosters will take big litters of dogs. They often will keep them in outdoor kennels, outdoor pens, outdoor runs, so they don't really know how they are in house. Sometimes they do, and that varies. And the person posting for foster will note that when they're able to. So, house trained, working, doing great in crate training, sleeps through the night, they'll post the information they have. You're always welcome to ask questions if you have them, but just please know that we might not have additional information or be able to get it for you. You'll comment on that post. I'll take Millie. And right away, the volunteers that are in charge of that transport are going to get that dog on the schedule for a vet check with our Southern partners, and get them a spot on transport. So those things cost time and money for everybody. So what we don't want people to do is change their mind. So we understand emergencies happen, and you'll need to back out of your position as a foster. But if you've said, I'll take Millie, please know that you're committing to Millie, and you put into action almost immediately a whole chain of events. So we're getting vet certs, we're paying for their spot on transport, we're getting them ready to go. So if Joey pops up and you think he's cuter than Millie and you comment, I'll take Joey, but you already said, I'll take Millie, we're going to assume you want Millie and Joey, and that you're not just changing your minds. So please just try to keep that in mind. We don't ever want to commit to a dog and then have to pull out of our commitment to them unless it's an emergency situation. Lastly, about the Facebook group, just keep an eye on your, like I said, Facebook Messenger. There'll be a request option very often. That's probably how the dog, the foster screener who's screening for your dog is going to contact you. And that might be how us on the social media team are contacting you, or how people are contacting you if you need an Uber to an event or a handler for an event. They're just going to message you directly. So just keep an eye on those message requests. Okay, so you've selected your foster and they're on their way. For the purposes of this, I'm just going to go by that this is a Just Us Beagles transport and you're picking the dog up at our office at 1084 West Shore Road in Warwick. If you're taking your dog from one of the other outlets I mentioned earlier, you're helping Deb with one of her transports, or you're getting your dog from another foster or an owner surrender, you'll just work with the volunteer who's setting up that, who asked for foster for that dog in order to get your supplies and everything. So our main transport location is at our village location in Conimicut Village. It's 1084 West Shore Road. It's an office/storage space. It's a big open space inside. There we have a ton of supplies. So if you're coming to transport night, you can get there a few minutes early. Typically volunteers don't come like an hour or a half hour early. They're going to get there a few minutes early. And you can join them and grab whatever you need. If you're a new foster, this is your first foster, you'll get a new foster kit. It'll have bowls and toys and a few little goodies in there for you, and poop bags and a seat belt, and you'll get a t-shirt, a volunteer t-shirt. And if you need beds or blankets or towels or extra toys or anything there, you're welcome to grab it. There are so many goodies, so please take what you need. Food is always available, not just on transport night, in the cabinet at 1084 West Shore Road. It's labeled puppy or adult food, and there is always crates available. So you can get them at transport, but you can also get one early, or if you decide you need a second one, just stop by anytime. There's a trailer with our logo on it, and you're welcome to grab whatever crate you need. If you happen to need supplies outside of transport night, you're just going to send a direct message to Denise Smith. She's our supply coordinator. She will get you whatever you need, and she will leave it for you typically in that foster cabinet along with the food. But if you're coming to an adoption event on Saturday, you can always say, is there a chance that you could bring it to the adoption event instead? And if she's coming, she'll likely be able to get that for you there. If the office is a little out of your way or something like that. Yeah, okay, cool. So, if you are picking up a puppy at transport or a small dog or a couple of puppies, it's a great idea to put a crate in your car for them. A lot of us have learned this the hard way. um, Puppies have a tendency to have to go to the bathroom as soon as they get in your car for some reason, even if they just went or went in their crate on the way here from Arkansas. So putting a crate in your car is a great idea if you can. If you're taking a big giant adult, they might not fit in a crate, of course, in the car, but puppies, it's a good idea to put them in a crate. Um, if you're not crating an animal in your car, it's Rhode Island state law that they are seat belted in. We'll give you a seatbelt in your foster kit. If you need a second seatbelt, if you need one and it's not your first time, please just ask us. We have plenty of seatbelts. They clip into the seatbelt just like in your regular car, and they clip onto the harness. So if you are just getting, typically we're going to give you a martingale collar and a leash at transport. And if you feel like you want a harness too, that's awesome. We're going to ask you to clip the martingale collar to the harness with the leash clip or with a carabiner. This is because dogs can wiggle out of pretty much any harness, but they can pretty much never wiggle out of a martingale collar. So we'll go into safety in a little bit, but all dogs are flight risks and we want to make sure that they are safe. So making sure they're double clipped in if you're using a harness is great. Harness is great in the car because seat belting them in the harness is just a little bit nicer to their necks than seat belting them onto the martingale. But sometimes you need to do what you need to do. But no matter what, we're getting them on a seat belt if they're not in a crate in the car. When they come off the truck, you guys can watch anytime. Go back on the Facebook page and just search all the Facebook lives and watch what it looks like when the dogs come off the truck. The guys are going to wrap them in a slip lead, and you're going to stick your wrist through the slip lead like strap, and then put the martingale over the dog's neck and clip it on. Fasten it up, make sure it fits them, and then grab both the leash and the slip lead and bring your dog off the truck. Bring them over to try and use potty. If they are really not having it, just scoop them up and put them in the car. If you need to go into the office to get anything else, just make sure that they are either secured in your car first or you can bring them in with you. All right, so you got everything you need, got them in the car, they're secured in the car, and then you go home. Same thing when you get home, the dog's still gonna be a flight risk. You can imagine if you were chilling at home one day, somebody scooped you up, put you in a car, then put you on a truck for 2 days in a cage, let you out of the truck in somewhere cold and unfamiliar, and you would run for the hills too. So as happy-go-lucky as some of these dogs can be, they all are flight risks all the time, but especially when they're coming off the truck and coming out of your car to go into your house. So we want to make sure the same thing, the dog is still secure on that martingale collar and that leash before you take them out of the car to bring them into your house. If you're able just to pick up that crate and bring it right inside, that's the best of both worlds, or bring them inside your fence and then shut the fence and then let them out. But we just want to make sure they're super secure during any moments of transition, because those are the biggest moments when they might be frightened and try to run. There's a whole little brochure pinned to the files tab of the Facebook page that has tips for doing introductions with your resident dogs if you have them. There's some in the handbook as well. The little file that Jen Reynolds gave us all those tips from Training Tales. So those are her procedures for introducing dogs. If possible, you might want to just have the foster chill in their own space for the first night. Let them acclimate without feeding your dog and do it in the morning. It is sometimes late by the time you get home, give the dog a bath, So sometimes you're not going to want to feel like doing introductions that very night, and that's okay if they can have their own space. If not, if that's not possible in your home, then you're going to want to do those introductions properly. We give you a preventative at transport that's called Capstar or something similar to that. It's an emergency flea preventative. The dogs are all treated for flea and tick before coming up, but we always suggest it just in case they were to get any jumpers on transport. So give them that little preventative and then give them a bath. We recommend using Blue Dawn on that first night if you can. It does kill any fleas that might be on them, but also it does help get off lots of gunk, and they are quite stinky and sticky when they come off the transport truck. So putting a little Blue Dawn on them, it's good enough for the ducks, it's good enough for the dogs. You can use that instead of just some puppy shampoo, which might just smell nice and not really take a lot of gunk off of them. And then you're just going to want to let them relax and chill out, set up a crate with a nice blanket in it, give them a safe space. You can give them a tiny bit of food and water at night. We don't want to overwhelm their bellies that might already be upset with a whole giant meal or a ton of water. And they might not even feel like eating or drinking, and that's totally okay. The 3-3-3 rule is something we talk about often. Dogs typically need about 3 days to understand that they're safe, about 3 weeks to understand your routine, and then 3 months to really feel at home. So just those few hours that they're with you, they might still be pretty frightened, and it's okay if they don't want to eat or drink anything. Just give them that option. All right, so we already kind of talked about safety of getting in and out of the car, but same thing on walks. We always want to have the martingale collar and the leash on them, and making sure if we're using a harness that the martingale is clipped to the harness directly, either with a carabiner or with the leash clip itself. If you have any questions about how to properly hold and maneuver a leash, I did pin to the featured tab a couple good slides on how to hold a leash. You always want to make sure that with the foster dogs, like we say 1,000 times, they're flight risk. We don't know what's going to scare them. You can be out on a walk and they could be totally happy-go-lucky, loving it, and then see a man and freak out and try to run for the hills, or see a dog and try and freak out. They might, like Hillary has a foster right now, he was thrown out of a truck, so he's petrified of cars. So we don't sometimes know these things about the dogs. We don't often know their backstory or what has happened to them, so we don't know what's going to set them off. So we always just want to be prepared and holding the leash properly, having them on a nice fitted collar, and being good to go. It's just recommended that we're not holding the leash gingerly and, being on our cell phone or not really paying attention to what we're doing, because anything really can set them off. There could be the chance that your dog goes missing. And of course, that's worst case scenario, but we don't want you to freak out if that happens and jump in the car and start driving around and looking for them. What we do want you to do is contact us right away. So contact your screener, contact anyone that you know in the rescue, send us a message on Facebook, post it in the group. Just let us know, emergency, Millie got lost, Millie ran away. And we're likely going to contact our contacts at Missing Dogs Massachusetts and have you fill out a form that tells us where they were and what happens. And start looking for them. We don't want to run after a dog who has gone missing. We don't want to go chasing after them, screaming their name. But we do want to get down nice and low if we do see them, toss some treats, and try and get them to come to you. Like worst case scenario, we'll need to contact our trackers and contact probably a drone operator that we work with. This isn't anything anyone takes very lightly. The drone operator we work with, Hawkeye, he needs to leave his baby and his family and come out into the woods in the cold and look for the dogs, and it costs a lot of money. So I think his fee was like $500 or $600 an hour. Of course, that's not any kind of cash we have laying around. So if we just be a little bit more diligent about in and out of the car, in and out of the house. But we understand emergencies happen, stuff happens, just let us know immediately if your dog is to get loose. Something to consider in the home is an airlock. If you don't have sort of a two-door system or a gate around your door, there's a post pinned to the feature tab that talks about an airlock. Really, that's just a gate around your front door, an X pen, a baby gate, something to block it so that if you have kids coming in and out and they're leaving the door open, or you have handymen working on your house, or you just have a tendency to get that door blown open by the wind, or it's Halloween and there's trick-or-treating, we want to make sure that the dog can't just bolt out the front or back door, especially if there's no fence out there. So an airlock is a great thing to consider for your foster. And even if you do have a fenced yard, we're never leaving the dog alone out in the fenced yard. We have seen dogs hop 6-foot fences. We have seen them dig underneath them. So even if you're inside making dinner, please just make sure that we're not leaving the dog out there alone or with your resident dog. We're always keeping an eye on them. If you don't have a fenced yard, then we're never letting them off the leash, even if they seem to be very much listening to you and listening to their name calling and coming back when called. We don't know, again, what can set them off, what can frighten them, and we don't want them to run away. So you can get a long line, a really long leash, a lead, a tie out, and have them feel some freedom, but we don't want to let them free to be if we don't have them in a securely fenced area. All right, so just updates for us in the Facebook group. We love just a picture on the first day, and we know you don't know a ton of information on that first day. So of course you're going to get home, give the dog a bath, let them relax. We don't need photos of them, all wet and soggy on the bathroom floor, unless it's super cute, of course. But if not, just in the morning when you take them out for a walk, you're letting them run in the yard, or there's just some nice light coming in through the window. Just grab a quick picture of them and just be like, Millie had a great night. She slept in her crate. Can't wait to see her personality come out. This is because the photos we get from our Southern partners, as you've probably seen in the Facebook group, are not the best. We would love to have just one clear picture so we know who this dog is, we know what they look like, and we can get started on their website profile on Adopt a Pet. And if we need to put sneak peeks out there for social media or for the event, that we have a nice picture. Then like day 3 to 5, you should have a little bit more of an understanding of who this dog is and be able to snap a couple good pictures. We don't expect you to be Annie Leibovitz, but if you can go out there and grab a couple nice pictures that are clear and just have some pretty light, outside or just near a window, anything that's not just cuddling on the couch at nighttime where we can't really see the dog, is helpful for us, because we want to start getting them in our rotation for social media spotlights. And we also, the screeners, want to share that with their prospective adopters. Look at this cute puppy we just got. Isn't he cute? And if we can't see him and it's nighttime and he's dark and he's not even facing the camera, it's not really going to do much for us to be able to get him adopted. From there, every 2 weeks is fine, just for updates. Please always include a little bit of information about the dog. It's been 2 weeks now. We know that Millie is totally house trained. She loves my dog. She hates my cat. She loves to eat socks. She loves to sniff grass. She doesn't love the leash. She's still working on house training. Anything that you know about her is great. And then, of course, just generally throughout this time, if you take your pup for a fun day, or they go out on your boat, or you go kayaking, I don't know, any little fun activities, they go for a pup cup, you took them to Petco, they went to Home Depot, could be a fun little story for us to share. So please do post those little adventures. You don't have to wait, be like, oh, it's 2 weeks, it's time for me to do a post. You can do a post whenever you want. Medical is a next big concern. So Jackie Shepard is our lead medical volunteer here. She right now for I believe 2 weeks she is on medical leave herself. So Lauren Fraunfelter is her replacement. So if you have any sort of medical issue, any sort of medical question, you're going to send a direct message to Jackie, or in this case, Lauren, until Jackie gets back. It's very normal for your dog, especially in the first couple days, to be a little bit sore, have some lumps and bumps. They get really kind of banged around on transport a lot. They're coming from strange environments. They might have some hair loss or be itchy. Haven't been on great food. They haven't had a lot of great nutrition. So just monitor it. But if there's something that's concerning you, please let us know. It's very, very normal for them to have some upset stomach issues. Diarrhea, vomiting, not wanting to eat. That's pretty normal, but we still want to be aware of it. And then, of course, if there's other things happening with those stomach issues, you see worms, they're vomiting blood, can't stop vomiting. These are more intense issues that we need to be aware of. No matter what the situation, if you feel like Jackie needs to see the dog at an event, that's fine. But if you think it's an emergency situation, that would kind of be your dog is profusely bleeding. They got cut. You think they hurt their arm. They jumped off the couch and you think it's broken. You never heard a yelp like this before. They are like in and out of consciousness, you think they might be having a seizure, you're going to want to get in touch with us right away. In the handbook, it has all of the people you need to contact, their phone numbers, and you're going to want to write emergency in big bold letters. But what we don't want you to do is just get in the car and go to the emergency vet. It might be a knee-jerk reaction. We want you to get ready to do so, but we have special contacts with different emergency vets, and we're going to want to direct you to who we need you to go to based on those contacts. So please don't just up and go to the vet, especially for small things. And even with emergencies, we want to alert the whole team before getting in the car and driving. Some other resources for people to message if you have questions, especially if you're getting a doodle or a fluffy dog. Amanda at Passion for Pets is our liaison. Sorry, I'm just getting a chat. I just want to see. Okay. Is our grooming gal. She's based in West Warwick. She has a grooming shop called Passion for Pets. She lovingly donates some of her time to the rescue. So you can text message her or direct message her. Her information is all on that sort of featured tab info post, and she'll get you in when she can, get your dog groomed up. Again, we talked about supplies. If you need supplies, message Denise for them. She will put them in the cabinet for you or get them to an event if possible. Any and all questions about the dog. Do I want to adopt this dog? Am I going to foster fail this dog? Behavior questions, questions about where the event is. Please just message your dog's screener and they will introduce themselves to you on transport post or via direct message shortly thereafter. So you can send them a message and they will contact you and you can get all of that ironed out. We do want to talk about swapping your dog out. Again, like we talked about, it does take a couple days for the dogs to settle in, especially if you have resident dogs at home. We want to make sure everyone's getting along, but they might not be best friends instantaneously. So make sure the foster has a space or your resident dog has a safe space to be separated and give them some time. If it's just not working out and it's been quite a few days and you've tried multiple things, talk to your screener, your dog's adoption screener, and ask what you should do, if they might have some more tips for you. But worst comes to worst, that's not working out at all. Maybe there's children involved and you just feel like it's not working out for your kids, or there's other stuff going on that you're worried about. we can post in the group. Your screener will tell you what to do and when to do it, but post in the group and just say all the information you know. Joey sleeps through the night. He's great in the crate. He loves walks, but unfortunately he hates my husband. And that is something that literally happened to me. Um, he just hated my husband and didn't want him anywhere near him and tried to, protect me from him, which was very awkward and uncomfortable. So things happen and we need new fosters. So you'll just post there, list all the information. Somebody else might not have that same situation and be able to help you. And likewise, maybe you can help someone else, or you can say, I can swap Joey for Millie because I know she needs this isn't working out for X, Y, and Z. So where you can help other fosters is the best. And if you need help, just reach out to your screener and post it in the group and we'll try and get you a replacement. Same goes for if you need vacation coverage or a work trip popped up out of nowhere or a family emergency. We're going to want to have you post everything you know about the dog and ask for a replacement. All right, so bringing your dog to an adoption event. Adoption events are our best way to get the dogs adopted. We have many, many events per month. Typically, I think a minimum of 5, a maximum of 1 billion. I think we have 3 events on Saturday alone. So the dogs might not be ready on the first day. Sometimes, most of the time, transport's coming in on a Friday night, and we have an adoption event on Saturday morning. So if your dog seems to be well adjusted, you can bring them to that adoption event. But sometimes you might want to just hang back and give them a week to settle in, especially if they seem a little shy. We require that you bring them to 2 adoption events per month. You physically don't have to go if you can't. We post a weekly poll every Wednesday. There's an option there for my dog needs an Uber. So you can post for an Uber there and a volunteer will offer to take your dog. Just write, I live in Cranston and Millie needs a ride to Saturday's event. A volunteer will say, hey, I'll pick up Millie, I'll direct message you. And then you can coordinate about getting to the dog to the event if you can't physically go. The more events you can go to, the better, because it's more exposure for your dog to the public, to the other screeners, to other volunteers, so that we can get them more love and more attention and more eyes on them. So get to as many events as you can, as many as your dog feels comfortable going to. To bring them there, you must have them on their martingale collar and leash. Put them in the crate in the car, or put them on the seatbelt. If you want to use a harness for events, that's great. Maybe they're a puller, maybe you're easier to handle them with a harness on, but just make sure it's clipped to the martingale collar with a carabiner or with the leash clip. I know I keep saying it over and over, but you'll be surprised how many times people show up with no martingale or with the leash on the harness and not clipped to it. So sorry that we keep saying it, but it's just very important because the dog can wiggle out of the harnesses. You should get a t-shirt at transport or from Denise if you need one, and wear that to the event unless you have a Rhode Home t-shirt already. Just something with a big logo on it so the public knows that you're with the rescue. Please don't ever give the leash to a member of the public, to someone there that's not with the rescue, and let that person walk the dog. Or hold the dog. They're welcome to hold the puppy. You just keep holding onto the leash. You'd be surprised that we've had crazy people try and steal dogs, steal puppies from adoption events, try to walk right out with them. So we always want to make sure we are holding the leash of the dog, and that only approved volunteers or fosters or screeners are handling them. We do have many volunteers. If you need a bathroom break at an event, if you got an emergency phone call, just ask for a handler and we'll get you someone to hold the dog while you go take care of what you need to. Meet and greets will be scheduled, and of course this doesn't pertain to that. The people that are trying to adopt the dog during a meet and greet are going to want to walk the dog, and of course they can do so. We're just talking about just hanging out at the adoption event. Someone comes over, oh, this puppy is so cute. Don't just give them the leash. You are the face of the rescue at adoption events, so please be friendly and cheery with the public. Please tell them all the information you know about the dog. On the first day, it might just be like, Millie's super cute and she was great on the car ride here, because that might be all you know. But you can tell them that she just came in last night. She slept through the night in her crate. That's all I know right now. She seems to be good with my dog. She loves my kids. She barked at my husband. You just want to be honest and open and just tell them what you know. If your dog seems to be uncomfortable in a situation, they're hiding in the corner, they don't want to interact with the public, they're getting snippy or nippy, they might just be overstimulated and need to just go for a walk. You can take them outside, give them a walk around, come back in, try it again. If they're still not feeling it, you can just take them home. We don't want them to be uncomfortable at the event and get, you know, in their own in their own little head about it. We would just want to make them feel safe and supported. So if they're not feeling it, you can bring them back, bring them home. And please don't, this just happens a lot. Little kids will come to the event with a parent or just be shopping at the store and be like, a cute puppy, and try to get right in the dog's faces. Just use your happy voice and be like, we don't want to get in the dog's face. Let's give them some space, because it's just not a great situation having anyone in their face, but little people sometimes can be scary for the pups. The whole time you're posting in the group and you're giving us all these updates, you're going to be honest with us. We don't want you to sugarcoat things that are going on. If the dog's not crate trained, the dog's not crate trained. We want to know about it. If the dog's not getting the house training, we want to know about it. If they're being snippy with your dog or nippy with your kids, or we want to know the good and the bad. So please always be open and honest with us on those Facebook updates and directly with your adoption screener. And be honest with the doctors when they come to the events and are looking at dogs. Don't tell them things that aren't true just to try to get the dog adopted, but please always have shared those things with your screener ahead of time. The worst thing could be that we're doing a meet and greet and it's already scheduled, and your screener's telling the adopters how amazing this dog is about X, Y, and Z, and you're like, actually X isn't true, and actually Y isn't true. Things change, and that's why we ask for these updates so often, because things change all the time. So you might think that the pup's crate trained, but after 2 weeks they decide they absolutely hate the crate. So don't sugarcoat anything, but just don't drop bombs on us, especially during a meet and greet. After your dog's adopted, we do suggest, if you can, wait about a week to take another foster, just in case that dog gets returned. Of course, our screeners do their due diligence and make sure that the adoptions are to the best fit for the dog and for the humans. But things do happen, and sometimes a resident dog isn't feeling it, or kid's allergic, or it's just not working out. They have an emergency family situation and the dog will get returned. We do offer a 7-day return to our adopters to get their adoption feedback. Things don't happen, and things do happen, and we do understand that. So in that case, we will ask you, can you take Millie back? She's being returned for XYZ. And we hope that you will say yes, just so that we don't have to try to find another foster for her. Sometimes it happens and you already committed to someone else, and that's okay, but we do ask that if it's at all possible that you give it about a week before you take another foster. All right, that is all my slides. I'm gonna end my screen sharing so you can see my face here. I'm going to unmute you. Allow you to unmute yourself. All right. So everyone is free to unmute if you want to. I'm just going to see here. Judy asked, can we stop by the office and get supplies any day, or do you make an appointment? No, like Corinne answered, you can always get food. There are some random supplies in there, seatbelts and pee pads, but just let Denise know if you take the last of things. But there isn't always everything in there. So if you need like new toys or something, or something specific, a medium-sized harness or something, just message Denise and she'll leave it for you. But you don't need to make an appointment. She goes quite often. She lives nearby, so she can usually grab those things for you relatively quickly. But food all the time, anytime, just go grab what you need. Crates anytime, grab what you need. And if you take the last of something, just message Denise. Anybody else? Let me see. Lauren. Lauren, hi.
Quick question. So I just signed up for this more as a refresher. I have fostered a few dogs in the past, but it's been like a little while. So I was wondering, you guys used to do events in Barrington at the pet center there. Are you gonna ever do that again?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. I would hope yes. We're starting to do some smaller events at East Providence here and there. But I think it would be great personally, but I think that some people have Washington Bridge phobia, so
The
we
bridge
have.
has gotten better, so I
I
feel like,
know.
yeah, like and I live in Warren, so I was like
Yeah,
hoping that they would bring it back.
I know. Please advocate for it. Please,
I I
please talk to
will.
Dina and be like, the bridge is okay.
Yeah, it's good now.
Yes, I
Okay.
hope
All
so.
right. Thank you.
Where
Yes.
where is the feature tab?
At the top of the Facebook group.
And this is the Facebook group for the volunteers.
Yes, it's our only group. So we have a page, we have a main business page,
Yeah.
but only admin can post on our business page. So we're asking you to do these posts and these updates in the volunteer group. And then our admin team takes them and puts them into a chronological rotation of when the dogs arrive and post their spotlights on the main page when they can. So you can only post in our group.
Okay.
Anybody else have questions? We're
I
here.
have one.
Yeah.
So I'm brand new, but I did get a foster this past Saturday from Deb,
Okay, great.
and she's lovely. She does have like a couple little quirks, but I honestly really like her. But I'm just trying to figure out like if I know the term foster fail is like thrown out there and all of that, and like honestly, I was like I'm gonna just foster. Like I felt like really committed to it, and now I'm kind of like wavering because she is super cute. But I'm just like curious, like, is there like a timeline or anything? I'm just curious how that works.
We ask you to let us know as soon as you know. So after 48 hours of the dog arriving, and if we don't hear from you, we're going to assume that you're cool with them being posted, and they go up on our website with all the dogs and they get put into the social media spotlight rotation. So if you even have an inkling that you might want to adopt, please let your screener know, which yours would be Deb, right away.
Yep.
So that she can hold back on posting them publicly, and we'll give you a week to decide before we need to move forward with posting them and other adopters that have interest. So if it's been a couple weeks and you haven't said anything and we've had the dog featured out there, but you're like, I think I do want to keep her, but there's no interest, by all means be like, I want to keep her. There's no expiration date. Just know that we are starting to screen adopters and putting her out there after 48 hours if we don't hear from you.
Okay, that's good to know. And then kind of on the same note, if the dog does have some medical stuff going on, so I did reach out to Lauren because there was blood in her stool and some worms, and Lauren and I have coordinated back and forth and got meds and that type of thing. But is there like a rule about setting up an adoption if they have any sort of medical stuff going on? Because I know she's not posted yet online. In my worry of, I don't know, do I need to say something? I had looked at the website. But so I wasn't sure, like, does things get delayed if they're going through treatment?
We won't adopt them out. We don't recommend bringing them to an event if they do have worms. We want to make sure those are all cleared up because they are contagious. So sometimes I think it just depends on the screener when they have availability to post the dogs. So she might not have had time yet, or been feeling it out for you, or have been waiting to see if these medical issues resolve. But typically, they're not really adoptable if they're having medical issues like that.
Okay.
But if it's just a little thing, like they're dehydrated or something, then that's fine.
Mhm. Yeah, no, we did like the stool sample through, I think it was Hoffman up in
Yeah.
Providence. And yeah, she tested positive for like 2 different things. So yeah,
Yes.
maybe that's why Deb hasn't moved forward with trying to post and take her.
Yeah, as soon as she's clear, she'll post her. So then she might
Okay.
be tracking with Lauren how many days it's been.
Okay.
But please do reach out to her if you think you want to keep her. There's nothing bad about foster family.
I'm like, it's my first one. I said I was going to do this. I don't know,
Okay.
but I think I have a problem where every dog I fall in love with. So
It's okay.
thank you.
Sure. Yeah. Anybody else? Judy, was that a hand raise or were you just reaching? Okay. All right, guys. I think that's everything. Anybody have any other last minute questions? Need to know where anything is? Need to know how to use the group? Need to
I'm just gonna ask a silly
Yeah.
question, maybe.
Please.
I haven't fostered yet. I'm waiting to hear back from someone, I guess, today.
Oh,
The
okay.
dog might be adopted already, but if that one falls through, I haven't picked up like the initial foster like food package yet, and she's been really helpful to say to come by. We just go there anytime. It's not like it's like locked or something. I think that part I'm confused about.
Are you an approved foster? Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't really need anything until you
Yeah.
select the
I'm just
dog.
like waiting to
Yeah. So
Yeah.
once you select the dog, they'll have it for you. Typically, they'll leave it. Our cabinet is always open. The office is always locked, but we have a cabinet
Oh.
that's open for
Oh, like
supplies.
outside or something?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
outside like a
okay.
deck cabinet. There's a deck trunk where you can drop donations if people need
Oh,
to
yeah.
donate anything. But right next to it, there's, you know, like an outdoor all-weather like shed cabinet. And that has, you know, the food in there, some
Okay.
basic supplies, and they'll leave a new foster kit in there for you if that's what they were talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just to like clarify, I'm sorry if this is also a silly
No,
question.
please ask.
When I see a potential dog that, I would be able to foster, and I say like, oh yeah, and then they choose you and they throw your name up there and you just watch for like the Friday, they're coming in at this time, whatever. Then
Yeah.
you just literally show up there.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we have a very general time frame because they're driving
Yeah.
here 2 days from Arkansas. So
Yeah.
6 to 8 p.m. is always kind of our guesstimate range of when the truck's
Okay.
going to get here. About halfway through the day, they'll send us an update on
Okay.
target for X time. And that's when whoever's coordinating the transport, very often Hillary, is going to say, update, transport on time for 7
Great.
p.m. And then
Okay.
they're going to give us a final heads up about an hour out when they come from the stop before us to let us know
Okay.
they're on their way. So typically that's about an hour out. If you are going to be later than that, then that's okay. Just be like, I'm going to get there at 8:15. Please, can someone hang on to my dog? Just so we know you're on your way, but you might be a little.
Sure. Okay. And someone will tell me when to attend an event, or I choose which event that is kind of like my schedule?
You choose based on your schedule. As
Oh,
long as you come to
okay.
2 a month, that's all we require. The more
Oh,
you come
okay.
to, the better.
If you have a medical issue, then you would kind of wait it out a little.
Yeah, wait it out if you have a medical issue. The dog's just not ready. If they're like scared and seem to be kind of timid,
Yeah.
want to wait a week or so. But if they're happy-go-lucky and you're ready to go, just come. The more events they go to, the better.
And then you just kind of show up and hang out with them for the 2
Show
hours.
up and hang out with all of
Yeah.
us. Yeah.
Okay.
Talk to the
Okay.
adopters, have fun, chat around.
Just want to make sure I'm covering all my responsibilities here.
Yeah, of course. That's great.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
I have a random one. If
Yeah.
you're going to an adoption event, right? Like say I was going to an event and it was scheduled from 10 to 12 or whatever. Are you like, do you have to stay the whole time? So like I have 2 kids that both play sports and all of that. And I'm just envisioning like trying to get to events on the weekends. Like if I know I can go, but I can only be there for like an hour and 15 or whatever, is that okay? Or how does that work?
Yeah, that's totally okay. So on that weekly poll, you'll select which event you're going to and you'll write Roxy's going to be there on Saturday. I need to leave by noon, or I need to leave by 11, just so we know and people have an idea. And like, if somebody comes to meet Roxy and you've already left, we're like, oh, she had to leave at 11. So it's just a good idea to like give us a heads up if you need to cut out early, but nothing is mandated. You guys are volunteers. You do what you need to do when you need to do it. If by chance, like you're like, I can drive her there, but can someone handle her at the event and I'll swing back by at 12 to pick her up on my way home from dropping the kids here and there. That's also an option. A lot of times we have lots of volunteers who are unable to foster for one reason or another. They want to help, they want to handle, they want to do what they can do. So that's an option. Just be like, I need a handler for this event. I'll drop her off and pick her up.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah.
There was a dog that I was interested in taking, and then I had signed up, but I couldn't take her right away. So whoever it was, I don't know who it was, had said that she could get swapped out to me. But at this point now I can't, just because of my schedule. So how do they get a hold of you? Do they only do it through Messenger, or do they do it through email, or what?
No. So have you let anyone know that you're unable to take the dog now?
Yeah, I did, but I just did it on that same post.
Okay. Yeah, Messenger is like our text messaging email system. We use Facebook Messenger all the time so that we don't have to have all of your phone numbers. We don't have to have you on a group chat. We don't have to be emailing you. It's just a lot easier for us to be able to communicate that way. So you can direct message whoever you were working with for that foster and tell them your situation.
Okay. All right, good.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys. You're all troopers. I know that was a lot of information. Again, you can always message anyone on the team. You can message the page if you don't know who to contact. If you feel like you're gonna foster fail and you don't know who your screener is yet, you can always message Holly. She's sort of the head screener and can help direct you. Your adoption screener is a great point of contact. The foster screener who screened you for getting here is great. And like I said, if you just message our main page, Rhode Home Rescue, I can always direct your message to where it needs to go. And yeah, we love questions. You're also, if you haven't selected a foster yet, you just want to learn how things work, just stop by an event anytime. Be like, I'm a new foster, just here to see how it goes, see what's up, say hi. We love that too.
Cool.
Last thing to mention, Superdog is coming up on May 10th. That's a giant adoption event with rescues from all over the state coming to. This one will be at Waterfire Art Center in Providence. We will need many fosters and many volunteers to take as many dogs as possible because this is our best chance to get dogs adopted in one day. People come from all over the state, all over the region to adopt. There'll be lots of information coming at you in the coming weeks about Superdog. You'll hear a lot about it. It's run by a company called Always Adopt. They're amazing dog people. They have tons of volunteers, but we will be asking for volunteers and fosters and all hands on deck for that event. So you can stay tuned for that.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for joining us. Have a great night.
Thank you. You too.
Thank
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.